Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is another video on Caleb Harris, and just to do a recap for the people who don't know, back on March 3rd, Caleb Harris was at his apartment. They just got a dog, and that was at 10:30. Then 11:53 p.m. he took a picture of his dog and sent it to his mom and uncle. Then on March 4th, which is early in the morning, he is seen on Ring doorbell camera, which is what we're looking at right here on the screen. And here is that surveillance footage out in the parking lot. He has the white shirt, the yellow hat. There's the dog that he eventually walks later on in the evening. And they walk back to the apartment. All right, so it says that, again, at 1 o'clock, that's when this was filmed here. You can see up on the screen there. And then at 2:15 a.m., Caleb made a Reddit post. Here is that Reddit post. It says, Oso Bay Hiking Trail. And it's for, mail for anyone. It's like, it's a website where on Reddit, apparently you can post on there and try to hook up with somebody in your area. And if you can look at the arrow here, it says Monday, March 4th, 2024 at 12:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, that's 2 hours later over there. So that would make that 2:15 in the morning. So then at 2:20 a.m., roommates go to sleep on a couch. And then Caleb is awake preparing for his fishing trip and says he is going to order Uber Eats. Then at 2:44 a.m., Harris takes that very same dog that we were just looking at for a walk in the apartment complex. And he sent a Snapchat to his sister. Also, likely while walking around at 2:45, just 1 minute later, he ordered the Uber Eats, 2 Lunchables, a Red Bull, and apple pie, which was apparently typical of Caleb, according to his father. Then at 2:58 a.m., he turns off his phone or it dies. And then at 3:03 a.m., he takes a Snapchat image of a bridge right next to his complex, and that is right here in this video. So when you look at this image, he's just standing right here. We don't know what happened to him, but it's interesting that he's next to this waterway right here at that time. And then at 3:12 a.m., the phone pings on Williams Drive. So Williams Drive, and it's just a little bit, looks like west of the apartment complex. And at 3:20, the Uber Eats is delivered by a young lady and has been cleared. She doesn't see Caleb, but sees another vehicle leaving the parking lot. The person leaving was also located and determined not to be involved. The person lives in San Antonio and was visiting his girlfriend, believed not to be involved. He actually saw the Uber Eats driver enter the complex. Then at 3:35 a.m., there was a possible sighting 0.8 miles down the road under a bridge. Apartments searched early on to determine if he left willingly, and they found nothing nefarious. Law enforcement is wondering why he left on foot on an extremely foggy night, and he was also barefoot. And if we look up at the map here, this is the apartment complex. I don't know which building he lived in here. It's the cottages. Then right here is where that photograph was taken, next to this waterway here. And then he said Oso Bay Hiking Trail to meet up with somebody. And that trail is just right here. It's not far away at all. It's just right in this location, about a mile or so from the house or the apartment, just right around the corner. And a little bit about Caleb is that, he was a junior. He was in environmental science. That's why it's interesting, that one Reddit post where it says outdoor physics, which is similar to environmental science. He loves fishing. He loves clothes, wants to be sponsored, kayak guide license, worked in Colorado in the summer coming up. Well, he had a job coming up this summer. Methodical fisherman, was ready to go fishing the day he went missing. Roommates say hearts are broken. They grew up with each other since the 4th grade. He was a good musician and a good cook. All right. Now, it turns out in the news lately, we heard about there was body parts that were found in a pump. There's actually a wastewater collection point. So it wasn't really in the pump, but sort of a well where it was wastewater was collected there, and then that gets pumped out to probably the main facility where it's the sewage treatment plant. And I think they actually looked at that plant, which is way over here, Greenwood Wastewater Treatment. They looked over here to see if they could find any further body parts that may have been transferred over there, which is almost 8 miles away from this location. The location of this pump house here to the apartment can't be ignored. We still don't know if it is him or not, so we have to just kind of consider the possibility that it's somebody else. My opinion is that his disappearance has to be related to the Reddit post at night, but the fact that he's over here makes you wonder if he did end up going in the water here. But amazingly, the water actually flows in this direction, so I don't know if he would be able to go upstream from there, although maybe there's a point where he got into a sewer somewhere and then was flushed from the storm water back up into this pump house. We just don't know, and it's hard to get any information on how these things actually work, etc. But apparently, if he went into a manhole and he was in there for a long time and his body decomposed, he would make its way into the sewage system, and then body parts might actually flow into this wastewater collection point here. What's interesting is there's a case out there that is very similar. A friend of mine found it, and I started looking into more articles on it, and it's pretty interesting. It's almost startlingly similar. So if we go back in time, it's not in this area, it's actually in Eugene, Oregon, in an area where I live. I actually went to college at the University of Oregon. It's about 100 miles away from my house. So this is back in 2015 on May 31st. It says, a body discovered by Eugene Public Works at a pump station on May 27th was confirmed as Noah DeWit, a University of Oregon alumnus who was last seen on February 14th, Valentine's Day. DeWit, 24, was found in an underground wet well at the Fillmore Pump Station off Briarcliff Lane while EPW was performing routine maintenance. DeWit graduated in 2012 with degrees in journalism and international studies. During his tenure at U of O, he was the editor-in-chief of the Oregon Voice and was also employed at the New Frontier Market. This is what we know regarding the disappearance and subsequent discovery of DeWit. On February 14th at 2 a.m., so look at it, very late at night, very similar, DeWit was last seen leaving the Heart and Spoon Community House without shoes, another similarity, barefoot, and was emotionally distressed according to friends. That isn't a similarity. He was expressing a lot of anxiety and fear about bad things happening to him, and his friends and family, Jessica Feather, a friend of DeWit, told the Emerald he wasn't in his normal, coherent mind. Then, on February 20th, KVAL reports that DeWit had been sighted hitchhiking south of Roseburg. This sighting is one of many reported at the time. We don't know if that was Noah, but we've canvassed that area pretty well, and at this point, Tyler Pell, a friend of DeWit who was heavily involved in the search, told the Emerald then. So it likely wasn't him. It was just somebody that kind of looked like him. And March 10th, there is still no sign of DeWit. So that's almost a month later. He's normally an extremely positive, happy person, and then some days he sounded down and a little depressed, Joanne Zevi said to the Emerald at the time. Then on March 21st, friends of DeWit create a video using footage of DeWit and song written and performed by him, hoping it will reach the missing U of O alum. May 27th A body is found in a sewage drain by EPW. KATU reports that there are only 3 ways for someone to enter the wastewater treatment facility, either through personal plumbing, like a sink or drain, entering a manhole, or entering the facility itself. So that's interesting, right? Those are all the things that we were talking about on the show last night, that maybe they entered right into that building or entered a manhole. May 30th, someone on DeWitt's personal Facebook page publishes a post announcing his body has been found. The Heart and Spoon Facebook page also posts the news and condolences. So we have that article, and then we have another one on June 1st. After body found, we're obviously devastated, Noah DeWitt's mom says. First they thought he might be hitchhiking to Winston. Then it was a sighting in Eureka, California. Then Grants Pass, Ashland, and Fort Bragg on the Northern California coast. Tips poured in about Noah DeWitt's whereabouts for weeks. Some sounded reliable, some didn't. But each time, DeWitt's family and friends chased them down, hopeful the disappearance of the 24-year-old University of Oregon grad would have a happy ending. DeWitt, a 2008 Grant High School graduate, went missing at 2 a.m. on February 15th for 15 weeks, since his family and friends have held out hope that he would turn up safe, that he just decided to leave Eugene without telling anyone. The news they dreaded came this weekend. DeWitt's body was found in an underground well at a Eugene sewage pump station. It's also interesting that, this is in February, and then he's found all the way, near June, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. I mean, Caleb Harris went missing on basically March 4th, which is about 3 weeks in the year after Noah here. And then it looks like they possibly have found his remains in the sewer in June, and this was just before June when Noah's body was found. And this is from the Lane County Medical Examiner. The Lane County Medical Examiner has reported there was no obvious cause of Noah DeWitt's death. There are still aspects of his examination pending, including toxicology. Eugene Police Violent Crimes detectives are still investigating the circumstances surrounding Mr. DeWitt's death, including how his body ended up in the location at E. Briarcliff Lane. On May 31st, Eugene Police released the identity of the person who was found deceased as Noah DeWitt, age 24, of Eugene. On February 15th at around 2 a.m., Noah Michael DeWitt, age 24, left the home of a friend on West 27th Avenue on foot. DeWitt was reported missing by the friend, who said that DeWitt was in distress, which increased the concern for his well-being. Previous information from May 27, 2015. At 12:58 this afternoon, May 27th, a Eugene Public Works crew were performing routine maintenance at a Fillmore pump station at 1405 Briarcliff Lane when they discovered a deceased person at the bottom of a large underground wet well. Doesn't that sound absolutely similar, you guys? For wastewater. They called 911 at this time. Personnel from multiple agencies are working to recover the body. Its location at the bottom of the shaft makes the recovery effort hazardous and will require some time to complete. So no new information is expected tonight. Wow, that's absolutely crazy. Maybe we could take a look to see if it has a similar look. And it's going to go all the way over to Eugene, Oregon. And right here. Well, that doesn't look right. What was the address again? 1405 Briarcliff Lane, Eugene. Oh, well, that's the problem. It was in the wrong state. Here we go. Oh, man, look at that. Looks like a very similar type of building right here. This doesn't have a 3D look to it for some reason, but yeah, right there. So apparently something very similar happened to this individual. But how did this guy get in there? And how would Caleb Harris get in there? He wasn't in distress. Caleb Harris was just, getting ready to go fishing the next day. He was trying to do a hookup with somebody that night. He just got a new pet there. It seems like everything was going well, so he wasn't distressed. So you got to ask yourself how he ended up in that well. Doesn't make a lot of sense if you ask me. So again, we last see him right here. Did he go over here to meet somebody? It's interesting right here. There's a larger manhole right there on the ground. It's 36 inches, I believe, across. And it's directly straight across from the pump. I don't know how we would end up in the manhole. See, that's where we need to figure out is what possible route could it have been that he got into the sewer system, because I think if you went into this waterway over here, there's really no way to get into it. You'd have to go into a manhole, or like they said, you'd have to go into the pump house itself, or in your bathroom somehow. Somebody, I guess you could just cut off somebody's hand and you threw it in the toilet and you flushed it down. It would make it in there, but you couldn't put a whole body in a home. But it seems like you could put a whole body into a manhole if you could fit into it. So this is just a really crazy case at this point. The fact that it's so close over here makes it seem like something happened in this area and makes the Reddit thing less likely, but I still think that's the most likely element. I think the Reddit encounter, and if it's not related, it's just another one of those crazy coincidences that he makes a post at 2:15 at night, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, apparently to me, that would indicate he was going out. Again, remember, law enforcement wondered why he left on foot on an extremely foggy night? Well, because he made a Reddit post, and that is the answer to that question, that he was leaving the house. He already brought the dog back to the apartment when he was walking in at 2:45. He ordered his Uber Eats, but then he went back outside again to go do something. You'd think he'd already got enough time outside with the dog. He was walking it around. It was 2:45. He ordered his Uber Eats. But then he brings the dog back to the apartment, and he goes back out again. To me, that points to him meeting up with a person on Reddit. Now, what happened to Caleb Harris and how he ended up back somehow in this pump, if it is him. I mean, again, we do not know if that's him. It'd be an incredible coincidence if it's not, because this is really only 0.2 miles away, right across a field from where Caleb Harris lived. Okay? Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that interesting, how there's another college-age person who was barefoot walking around in Eugene, Oregon, and just vanished off the face of the earth, and then he appears in a wastewater collection point. And let me know what you think about this video and the information in it in the comments section. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all very much for watching. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.